Let's go. I don't want to waste this
Oh,
time.
cool. Where'd you get this?
It's the internet.
Yeah, you ordered one?
I ordered. Well, he ordered.
Have you had it?
No,
really
I got
good.
exactly one.
You should eat this.
Because well, you can have
No,
it.
no,
for
no.
now.
You should. I got plenty of these. You should. You should eat it. I want you to know how good it tastes.
So that's why we came today, right? That's why we wanted to come to talk to you. Is you have a unique business design to your career.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's what's sort of interesting to young kids today. They think there's one straight line. There's no decisions. There's no business. But like, there's a John Craigie. That's John Craigie the person, I would assume.
Sure.
John Craigie the artist, and part of that is also John Craigie the business.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And how much intentionality do you go at that business side?
I don't know. I mean, you mean like as a musician?
Yeah, no, as John Craigie the person. How much do you get involved in the business of it? The schedule?
Some, I guess, is what I would say. It's what I want to get involved in, I do, and what I don't, you know.
So what are the things you want to?
I guess I like to map out where I'm going, because I know where I want to go. At this point, the agents know all that stuff, so I don't have to push as hard as I used to. And then as far as anything that's artistic, I got to be on top of, you know. So music, art, poster, anything artistic. But mostly the logistical stuff. I don't feel like I don't need to be as involved in.
And a lot of, when I think through my experience with your music, it came from my wife first. She was like,
Cool.
this is amazing, you gotta listen to that. Different people have said, listen to John Craigie, been going to Newport folk from like 2010,
Cool.
12. Grew up in Rhode Island. So that, you were hitting that vibe. Like, where did you start to say, this is my career? Like, did you feel it or did you build it?
Well, I think, you know, any musician career is like the people decide that. You know what I mean? I was doing this at 24, so it felt like a career to me, even though it was very small. I would drive around, play coffee shops. But
Was it real for you then?
Sure.
Did you see where you're at now?
no, I mean, it seemed very unrealistic that I would be playing the Bowery. You know, when I was playing like, I was just talking about, I used to go play Sidewalk Cafe. Is that still here? East Side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would do that. I would do Googie's Lounge above living room. We're talking like
So
maybe
you're talking
40
50.
cap.
Yeah.
Totally. But that was great. That was a big deal for me to be able to do that, to be able to like have a show in New York that people would come to. It was kind of a trip.
When you see young musicians starting their career, do you think they're rushing too fast to be something, or do you think, you know,
It would depend on the musician, I guess. I think if that's your
let's pull it back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Noah Kahn, very similar genre at one point.
yeah.
Now, big stages,
Huge,
big
yeah.
crowd. We were there last night. Town right next to you, playing last night.
Oh, cool.
Do you see yourself on that big stage, or do you see yourself growing, just building out this amazing tour and audience you have?
It's hard to say. I mean, again, that's really kind of where the people come in. I'd be happy. I'm just doing what I'm doing. You know, I think what you get to a point where you're going to sing. The town kind of dictates what room you play in, right? If I only could sell 50 tickets in New York, I'd be at the Sidewalk. You know, so I think I don't get too hung up on that kind of stuff,
Right.
right? Because it doesn't matter to me in the end. As financials or whatever, really. You're playing a show, you know.
Does the artistic vision, like the vision of your show, it feels very deliberate,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
brought that artistic piece, and it has specific business implications. You don't
Does it?
usually don't have for sure. You usually don't have a full band behind you.
Correct, yeah.
That lowers the cost, I assume.
Oh, sure.
Increases the margin on the show.
I guess for me, it's really just the music. The lyrics matter so much, and the less other stuff happening, the more they'll hear the lyrics. I play with bands sometimes. I'll be playing with a band in November. That'll be fine. But I really like playing solo. I think for what I'm doing, it like hits harder.
So that's more a pure artistic decision than...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, money, I guess, matters with a lot of stuff when you're trying to tour and trying to do it this way. But you can make that work. Obviously, many bands make that work. I really like to be able to just walk out on stage and have the freedom of just me, tell my stories, switch, pivot whenever I want to. It's really nice. It's very freeing.
Are the stories really you, or is that a show?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing storytelling way before I was playing music. When I was a kid, I was the funny guy, I guess, or the class clown, or whatever you want to call it. But I think I was a good storyteller back then.
People laughed.
People did laugh when I was a kid.
And then a loop.
How do you mean?
People laugh, then you tell more stories.
Probably, yeah. I was encouraged, as they say. Don't encourage him, kind of thing. I was very encouraged to do stuff like that.
And when you're coming out of college, was that how? Was it just like one day to the next, or was it, I'm going to be that musician. I'm going to do this at 24. I'm going to sacrifice this material side of things and go that direction.
Yeah, I was living in Santa Cruz, which was a very artistic place. I didn't do the storytelling at first because I didn't really know that you could do that. I grew up in the 90s with like just a lot of serious bands. I didn't know who John Prine or Arlo Guthrie or these guys were when I was a teenager. So it wasn't until I got to Santa Cruz and I started to see go to smaller shows and see these guys. And then I thought, oh, cool, you can combine the two. And it still took me a while to get like comfortable, smooth with that. I'm not a natural performer, so it was hard to just be on stage and not shake and not worry. And it's nice to just go out on stage and just close your eyes and sing songs. It's much harder to open your eyes and then do some sort of narrative, even if you're just telling what happened.
Yeah. You don't think you're a natural performer?
I've gotten better at it. I don't think I'm a natural. I mean, I know I'm not a natural performer.
How hard did you have to work at that?
I mean, the first time I ever played, I threw up backstage, not on stage, luckily.
What's so scary?
I don't know. Probably just our human. They have that like fact, which I don't know how true it is, where they say like people fear public speaking more than death. You've probably heard that before, and I don't know why we are so scared. It's probably like because we don't do it, and we're maybe some sort of herd mentality is that we're nervous to stand out. It's vulnerable, but I have no idea. I would sit there and be so nervous, and I wouldn't know why.
What's the next step on that? Like, you sit there, you throw up. How do you recover from that? Like, how do you go out? We talked to a guy, so this show is a lot of times about that courage to go and try something, right?
Yeah.
And you go out as an entertainer and you try it and you just fucking bomb as a comedian, or you just, this thing sucks. And you still have to wake up the next day and go through it. Like,
Yeah.
What's that step like for you?
I think I just knew I was smart enough to know you got to just keep doing it. And probably each time I did it, I didn't throw up the second time. I probably almost did. I didn't, the 50th time I wasn't shaking, and probably by the 100th time I was looking forward to it. But it's kind of like a roller coaster where you say, I'm going to go on that roller coaster, then you're in line and you're like, I don't want to go. And that would happen to me like an hour before the show. I was like, I don't want to do this. But I knew somewhere that if I was going to do it, I had to do it. So I just kept doing it. And it wasn't, eventually I was okay with it, but I still was not confident. I think a lot of things about nervousness is just lack of confidence, right?
Lack of repetition. Lack of We're all not confident.
For sure.
Is it like the first time that you put the cameras on and the lights, it's horrifying, right?
Yeah.
And then you just start asking questions.
Because
I'll start talking to people.
I'll still get nervous if I'm doing a new song or I'm doing something new. There's still some nervousness in it because I don't have the confidence to know that it's good. You know what I mean? And I'm less nervous to play a familiar song. But you get to a point where like nervousness is kind of fun. It's like a drug,
What's it like to play Mallory?
It's great, yeah. I just started playing it. I hadn't played it that much before the album, but this is only night 5 of the fall tour. So that'll be my 5th time doing it. But the crowd's very sweet, and it's nice. I love songs where you can just sing what happened. Westbound Bard is another song of mine that is like that. Suck It Philly. These are like so nice for me because I get to really relive that moment. True for every other song, but some songs are more poetic or they're about 4 different things. I love a song where it's like, this is what happened, everybody, start to finish.
Wow. So that's a real story.
Yeah, everything's real. I'm not good at making stuff up. Every now and then I can do like a Springsteen, Nebraska style fictional story, but those are pretty obvious. Something like Helena, Resurrection Bay, that involve like murder. I think no one's thinking
No
that
one's
I killed.
murdering. Yeah.
I've never murdered, and I don't.
Sure.
I'm positive. Yeah. This is not the time for me to go on the record.
Yeah, I'm not going to admit to that. So we formed an imaginary band once. It was ascots and assholes and ascots.
Okay.
Right? So we went to Newport, full ascots, full sailor gear.
Really? Did Newport know you were coming?
No, but they found out.
Yeah?
So you've only recently started going, though.
I'm 2 years only in.
We can't get in anymore.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Stop.
Seriously. You can't get in?
You got banned.
So I'm gonna start beef with Jay, sweet.
Wait, you're being...
Not banned. No, just like you can't buy a ticket.
Oh,
Like
okay.
a real fan. Like there's so many things.
You got banned.
Yeah, no, we didn't get banned.
Ascots and assholes
Assholes
is
and
fine.
ascots
Okay.
have never been banned yet.
Well,
It's
Spirit
imaginary.
Family Reunion wanted us banned.
The Spirit Family Reunion did, but
Did
that
they?
has nothing to do with
Different story. Okay.
Yeah, but we were in the Deer Tick after party. You did the Langhorne Slim.
Much mellower, I think, than the other after parties.
So the Deer Tick ones were like burned the house down 10 years
that's what
ago.
I've heard, yeah.
They were insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was weird. That was a really weird vibe. Did you like being in Newport?
Of course. I've only been twice. It's been wonderful each time.
Coming from California, Portland, is that what you thought of the East Coast?
I mean, I've been coming to the East Coast a lot, but that was probably my first, like, traditional East Coast folk festival. I never did Philly folk. I'd never done some of the other ones. So I guess that was kind of what I thought. Honestly, just technically speaking, I know they used to do it in that park. So all the video I saw of Dylan was in a much smaller place with much smaller stages.
Totally
so
different.
that was one small technicality. But in general, yes, that's what I figured.
Yeah, there was no beer tent.
No beer tent and no harbor stage,
Yeah.
and it's much nicer now, I think, and visually speaking, maybe. But.
I know you. We don't have to go in. I know you talked about that performance in the. I call it the Nacho Tent. It has a different name. I when I go to Newport, the feeling is like you can go in the audience, like you can look
Yes.
over and there's John Craigie watching them.
Well, for sure, yeah.
I've never had that anywhere else.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is very feels very friendly like that.
And so, what is the business dynamic like from when you look at it? What are the business dynamics of going versus a John Craigie show versus doing tours or festivals? Like is it a different vibe for you? Is it a different decision?
To do a tour versus a what?
Yeah, like a tour stop.
Oh, yeah.
Stop here at the Bowery.
Oh, yeah.
This is your take, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to Newport, it's not your take.
Yeah, I hear
How
what
do you
you're saying.
start to balance those questions of what to do, what not to do?
I mean, for me personally, summertime is like I'd rather not be doing club dates because I feel like people are more scattered. They want to be outdoors. They don't want to do quiet sit down folk song shows. So not that it's sit down or whatever. So I tend to give summer to the festivals. Also, I like having more time in the summer for myself. So yeah, those are like from a business perspective, it's different, right? Because Newport's Newport, so I'll fly from Portland to do one or two shows and then fly home, which is fine. I mean, it usually, if we're talking like financially, it's probably evens out. But energetically, it's tough. I don't like that as much because like tonight is great because I've just had 4 in a row. I'm feeling good. Newport, the most recent I would have played was the weekend prior at a whole nother place, and I would have traveled so much, and it's hard to get into it's like being blasted out of a shotgun, and it's fine, but it is harder. So I prefer the fall and spring and winter.
As you start to get to our age, do you spend your time thinking how to do this over a long stretch? Like, do you think, John Craigie, I'm on tour. Can I be doing this in 10 years, right? Like at 24,
Yeah.
you don't fucking think about it.
I was thinking about it back then, I think. Like, I
Really?
really, just because I really wanted to do it forever.
Oh,
so,
forever. You
yeah.
were trying to go forever.
Sure. And I think I realized at that point that, one, this is a nice job for forever because I can be 80 and do the pretty much exact same show. If I was in like a punk band or a screamo band or
Goo Goo Dolls.
sure, or even like someone who's like very theatrical who has to run around or
Right.
something
That
like
was
that.
it. Yeah.
All due respect
The
to those
yelling.
people, that would be something where you might say, "Oh, geez, how am I going to do this at 80?" I just have to live and be able to sing.
I had that thought last night because they rolled the Goo Goo Dolls out at the festival, and it's like
You saw Goo Goo Dolls last night?
Yeah, they're like
Oh, wow.
55.
Yeah. How they doing?
They're the Goo Goo Dolls.
Well, tell
I
me,
mean,
55 is not that old, hopefully.
No, it's only 10 more years for us.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
picked a number,
Yeah.
like 55, 60. They're old for
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Great.
They're visibly old.
Yeah, they're doing rock and
People
roll.
are yelling the songs back at them still, like large numbers, right?
Yeah.
And like if you would think about popular music today, like Chris doesn't even know who the Goo Goo Dolls probably are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so
They mean something to a certain amount of people, for sure.
and it's a lot.
For sure. Especially, was
insane.
it here in New York?
It was over in Connecticut, yeah.
Okay. Big
in
gig?
Bridgeport, right next to.
Oh, okay.
So Noah Kahn, Foo Fighters was before that.
Whoa.
Fleet Foxes.
Noah headlined over Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters bailed. They were supposed to play tonight in Bridgeport.
Oh, okay.
They bailed
We
out.
chose you over Jack White.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jack.
that's very sweet of you.
Yeah,
Jack's great.
Jack's great.
Very great.
I saw him in Starkville. I'm never going to get a better show.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But no, I mean, I think that idea of sort of being that 55, 60-year-old guy yelling at the camera and trying to dance, that's something. But you still have to prepare for life on tour.
Yeah,
if you're doing
For
80
sure.
shows a night,
Yeah, yeah.
80 shows a year,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
have you changed your lifestyle? Have you improved your health? Like, have you thought about these things? Is that part of your business, or is it part of your art, I guess?
Well, it's lucky that I can afford to not have to sleep on floors. You know, it's nice that I can afford just some gentler. I think when I was younger, I was like, I had no money, so it was like every possible inconvenient way to live. I took it, you know, as if it saved me some money. Now I still travel pretty chill, but we can get a hotel room with a bed, and that's really nice. And if I tour a lot now. If I don't, in 10 years, if I don't want to tour that much, I'll tour less. But I have friends, my buddy Steve Poltz, who's 20 years older than me, he tours more than me. So I think it really, you know, you go with the flow each year or each day even, you reassess. But I do like this job, and it's cool to watch some rock and roll people, they age with it, you know what I mean? Stones are like, we want to be 20 forever, and that's fine too, and everyone's like so excited about that. Like, I've never seen the Stones actually, but I'm of course aware of the current thing, and everyone's very impressed that they can still do some version of that. Johnny Cash, you know, he was like, I'm gonna do my like sad like elderly man thing, which was really, I think, really cool too. Neil Young kind of does both, you know, but honestly, it's like you just do whatever you can and whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm sure the Stones love playing like that. I'm sure Mick loves being able to run around, you know.
It's impressive to see him run around.
For sure, it's
If
impressive.
I can run around like that now, I'd be happy.
I know.
The mobility. Is it hard being a touring musician? Like, what is the piece that a 20-year-old kid doesn't think about?
I mean, it's as hard as you make it. You know what I mean? What's cool is like it's rare that no one's calling the shots but me. So when I was younger, I would play almost every day if I could, and that was fine. But I think there was a lot of hurdles. You know, one just being like sleep, comfort, and stuff like that. But now, no, I don't think it's hard for me personally to be a touring musician at my level. But yes, probably for some people. But you just got to make sure, like, be on top of your needs and your desires, and don't sell those out. You know.
So it's not every musician lives the Motley Crue lifestyle.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't. So. I think it's much harder to live that way now. I think for many reasons. There was a time. Also, right now, what I've noticed is that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you could just be a piece of shit and people would pick you up, right?
Yeah.
I could like play Bowery, come up here, do heroin or alcohol and pass out, and there's a team of people that are going to carry me downstairs. I got Joe, who's wonderful, but if he saw me do that, he'd be like, fuck this job.
this,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So I don't know many people who can just survive. No one wants to deal with that shit, which is a good thing that we're holding people accountable to that. So now I just never meet anybody like that.
The beans,
Yeah.
the promotion, the sponsorship deals, the brand deals. I know you're joking about it in the story.
Yeah.
I think Blue Runner knows you're joking at some level too,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's a good bit. We do the same thing with organic underwear that we're going to run through,
nice.
and like different stupid things that we find funny to talk about, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think of Nad's organic underwear, by the way, fantastic.
Nads,
Yeah,
okay,
Nads,
I like that.
N-A-D, better for balls underwear.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, I think when I heard that, listening to the live album, and I'm thinking like, oh, what's going on in the world that your management is coming to you saying, hey, let's go get a couple of sponsor deals, right? That wasn't a thing 15 years ago.
I mean, for me, it's not a thing. Really, I don't go after that, and I think at the level I'm at, I'd have to really be shaking some people down. I have some friends who are good, at that, but I don't have the time, energy, and it's not necessary. I was really, like I joke with Phil, like I would be very like, I don't like doing stuff like that. I don't like feeling like I owe someone something.
Well, they paid you, so it's like...
well, that's never happened, you know what I mean? But if that were to happen, I wouldn't want someone giving me money and be like, make sure you talk about us on stage or whatever. I just wouldn't like that. And I don't need that at this point. I don't have, like, I'm not raising children.
There's so much money?
No, I just have a very simple lifestyle. So I think, I mean, I don't know why people do that. Maybe they need more money. Maybe they got themselves into a thing. My ascent has been so slow that I'm not trying to catch up with any like mansion or boat or something like that. So I have been able to sort of, like I said, do what I want. And if something doesn't feel right, I don't do it. Not to diss on anybody who is doing sponsorships. Some sponsorships are also just nice and clean, right? They're just like, hey, here's a bunch of things that you like. Maybe post on Instagram. I guess on a much smaller level, like someone gave me boots once, and they say, "Can you post about these?" And I did. But that's not something that there's nothing that I need right now. That's
to build that out.
I guess, or there's just like no one's come to me first of all, and I'm not coming to anybody else. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Right. They're never gonna like come.
I mean, maybe I'd have to get a bit bigger. I feel like for that.
Well, your management would have to go out and actively
exactly,
get it.
And that's not what I want to do.
You wrote Johnny Corndog Leather Goods?
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. So I mean, I think that's that part of music is changing. Like you're starting to see these TikTok musicians coming through, pulling up 2, 3, 4 million followers.
Totally.
Never having played a live show.
Yeah, very different than what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm aware of that.
How would they, like I sit there and wonder, and I don't think we've really seen someone that successfully translate as a musician. As a performer, they'll sometimes make the, pop, but a real serious musician hasn't made that transition yet. What do you think's missing from the career of the 22-year-old kid doing that?
I mean, I think almost always you got to have some, you have to have some sort of like foundation, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess if you were, I can't really speak to this because I have no idea, but I have known some people who had like a one-hit wonder or some kind of splash, went on one tour, people came out, but then, they didn't have a foundation, so then they came back a year later and everyone's like, oh, I saw that guy. I think people who have consistent touring and have a consistent fan base, that's like more invested in them as an artist as opposed to a thing they did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
How important is that super fan that comes to my wife, that comes to one John Craigie show, comes to another, comes to another?
Very important, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so much. I mean, that's like, it's what you want, right? I mean.
Do you start to see them? Do you start to see the repetition?
Of course, and because I've been doing this for so long, and like I said, the climb has been from, I'm trying to think of maybe the first place I would have played in New York, but it would have been something like a sidewalk cafe or whatever, to where and then I did probably 5 sidewalks, a bunch of Rockwoods, I was many years I could see every face in the crowd.
Last tour, I think it was Webster.
I was here last year.
Here?
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally. But before this, it was like City Winery. Before that, it was Brooklyn.
That girl that opened last year was fantastic.
Taylor, it was so good. Yeah, I love Taylor.
Yeah.
Tonight's girl's fantastic too.
I'm excited to see it.
Anna's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at your 15, 20, 30 years experience, depending on when you started at Santa Cruz, what would you tell a young kid, a young student trying to make their art accessible for business, but not give away the art piece?
Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, ask yourself if you want to travel, and if you do, go places, start small, right? Go places where you have some friends or someone who can help with you. I think one of the things that I have no regrets, but something where I think I spun my wheels a little bit was I just went everywhere, and I went to a lot of places where I didn't know anybody, so I would just be in the corner of a coffee shop. And I could have I think when I do give advice to people, I go, all right, do you have one friend in this town? Have them throw a house concert for you. Tell them, that's, to me, more valuable than being like, I must go to Austin, or I must go to New York, or Los Angeles, where I don't know anybody, and I'm going to be doing some shitty gig or whatever. I think tap into who knows you and who likes you, and stuff like that. I think that's probably good advice. I think. But I also would be like,
I love how you're totally non-committal to your advice. You refuse to give anybody.
No one's ever asked
This
me
is the
before,
John
but-
Craigie way.
yeah.
So from the outside, I'll tell you, it looks very intentional.
Thank you.
It looks very, not to suck up, but like an intelligent, efficient design.
Thank you.
And what was interesting to me from a business perspective, and I think you're doing less of it than maybe I would have thought.
Yeah.
Because like you're protected, but you're being protected.
Sure.
Because that becomes incredibly. I think a lot of the influencers that we deal with are in such a rush to be big that they forget top line revenue does not mean bottom line revenue.
Yes, of course, which is something that's like a much. I mean, I talk to my friends about that a lot. You know, so a festival says they're going to pay you 10 grand, you're not walking home with 10 grand, and musicians almost always think they're walking home with 10 grand. You know what I mean?
Right. No, 100%.
I mean, and
that's what kids think.
Yes.
They see a $25,000 brand deal. They don't realize that's a fucking budget, not in your pocket.
Exactly. So I think that's something that we're artists. You know, we aren't business people.
Some are.
Sure, but I think that
Puffy.
Sure. Yeah, look what happened there. Yeah. You don't want your artist to be too good at business. It's kind of creepy. So just to be, I think just being aware is also important. Or don't be. I mean, sometimes you're so successful it doesn't matter. I have some friends who haven't made good business decisions, but they're big enough to where the money comes in, right? Who knows? Like Kurt Cobain was like probably not a great business person, had a mansion and had plenty of money. There's a story about Guns N' Roses where they had a horrible record deal, but they could go to the record company at any time and just be like, we need money for our drugs. And the record company would give it to them. They had what they needed, I guess, at the time.
Yeah.
Again, not the best comparison.
Not a sustainable practice.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
John Craigie is a sustainable business?
Working on it, yes. I would hope so. That's the goal.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, at this point. I mean, art
Could you
is
skip a tour?
Yes.
You could?
Yes, I could. You should be able to.
Have you wanted to?
No, not at this point, because it's really like my favorite thing to do. And I'm constantly having new things to say, and it's really hard to not share them, you know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you guys.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're gracious. And,
yeah, you guys hanging for the show?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We're coming anyway.
It's gonna be fun. My friend Anna's opening is amazing. My friend Laurie Shook of Shook Twins is in town.
Nice.
It's gonna be rare.
That's a great video that you guys put out. So we have free T-shirts for you to give away.
Okay, what do we got?
Right, we got with the Blue Runners, we got the Worldwide Weenie Tour. That's our version of a tour.
Oh, nice.
And we decided we never want to really be on tour because, like, you fucking have to eat 30 hot dogs in 4 days, and it's not.
You do?
Yeah.
You do, or one does?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, I've been to Criff Dogs.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, I have a funny
They're
story.
Right around the corner.
I have a funny story where I tried to get yellow mustard, and the lady was so mean to me.
Yeah.
And I've never
unnecessarily.
And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She said, "This is New York City." And I'm like, "You're telling me there's no yellow mustard?"
They have shitty hot dogs in New York City, to be honest.
Yeah,
Go across the street to Rutt's Hut in New Jersey. They got great hot dogs.
Okay, good to know.
Thank you.